How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be looking at some wide range of differential picks for game week 18. We've got one for each position, and these are players that people are probably either hardly looking at or players that are just going to be not necessarily in favor or considered in the template for the free hit video, which I will also be doing one for drafts on Friday, so make sure to check that one out as well. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch so you can get all the updates, as well as when we go live for our FPL streams, which we will be doing one for our deadline stream. It's going to be on the Monday, as the deadline is Tuesday of midday. So we'll be doing one the night before. So make sure to check that out as well. So without further ado, let's see what differential picks we have lined up for the free hit, potentially for the free hit, or what people are going to be looking at in the blank game week 18. So the first player that we have on our list is for the goalkeepers, and that is Karl Darlow of Newcastle. He's currently at 5 million, and he took the place over Dubravka, who was the mainstay in Newcastle's goal last season, but he picked up a serious injury and Darlow stepped in place of him. And now Newcastle aren't necessarily known for clean sheets, but Karl Darlow has the third most saves this season up until this point, and he has probably the best fixture you can probably ask for on paper versus Sheffield United, who is the worst in terms of XG as well as XG non-penalty over the last 4 game weeks. They're just not very good at scoring goals, and if you have someone like Darlow who's very assured in goal, makes great saves, and typically gets results for Newcastle when they probably don't deserve it because their attack usually isn't as good on the day, he can definitely pull out some points for them in net. And I think he's someone who is pretty straightforward. He's 5 million. He's probably better than Guaita this week, who's someone that people are probably looking at. He's probably a better value than Stefan for Man City, who, even though he's a bit more expensive, he's going to be better value because you can get better value out of your City players. He's probably better than De Gea, in my opinion, because I think that United could potentially still concede versus Burnley off a set piece or something like that. So I think Darlow is probably the front runner for me, and I don't see a lot of people necessarily, kind of going with him as well as another Newcastle defender like Lascelles, who's only 4.2 million, who should be back after having to self-isolate. And I think that pairing could be quite good on the free hit this week. And he also has some not so bad fixtures if you were on a wild card or you were just transferring him in for the free hit week, with Arsenal away and Leeds at home afterwards. So not too bad for the Newcastle goalkeeper. So differential pick for my goalkeeper this week, if I were to be on a free hit, would be Karl Darlow of Newcastle. But let's check out who is now on the defender list. Now, you may have seen him potentially on the thumbnail off to one of my sides. Can't remember if it was the left or the right hand side, but it is James Tarkowski of Burnley. Now, you think he doesn't have great fixtures. He's against Man United at home, which isn't ideal, West Ham away, and then he has Liverpool away. Just not ideal for a potential double game week player. However, Burnley have been doing quite well with keeping clean sheets, at least in recent weeks, and I think they would have kept one against Fulham had they played that game. But he's gotten 6 clean sheets out of the 16 games that he has played, because he was injured at the start of the season, which showed because Burnley did have some trouble keeping their defense intact. As well as Ben Mee was out at a similar time, and I think he was actually out for a little bit longer than Tarkowski was. But now that they've got both of them back, they're definitely looking in good stead for clean sheets. And they're up against Man United. They are at home, which typically United, against Burnley, it's fairly low scoring. So even if United were to concede, Burnley could potentially get a set piece, and Tarkowski could be on the end of it. Ben Mee's already scored a set piece in recent weeks, and I think Tarkowski could definitely score against a Man United team who effectively conceded 2 set piece goals against Man City in the Carabao Cup. Like I said, he does have a double game week, and he's only 2.5% owned, 5.3 million. I think he's not a bad option in terms of differential picks because he is versus teams that can concede from set plays. Liverpool, not the greatest at defending set pieces. Same with Man United. West Ham have been kind of, hit or miss since they've been slightly changing their formation. And I think that Tarkowski could potentially be underlooked here. It may seem like a scary, proposition on paper, but I definitely think that, Burnley could sneak a set piece in there or two potentially versus United. I'm hoping that doesn't happen because I'm a United fan, but it's definitely on the cards, as especially if you go with Maguire and Lindelof, who just in defense, in terms of defending set plays, just zonal marking is what United use, and it hasn't been great for them the entire season. So potentially look at a Burnley defender to nod one of those in, or even Chris Wood potentially, who I don't have on the list for the forward slot. To put one home. But let's see who we have selected for the differential pick in midfield. Now, in that midfield slot, we have Eberechi Eze. I think I pronounced his first name right, but we'll just go with Eze. I know it's Eze for his last name. And I think he could be a very good differential pick. He's only 5.8 million, 0.9% owned, so less than 1%. And he's an enabler in the midfield, a cheaper option that you can use in order to basically get that fifth midfield slot if you want to go for a 3-5-2. Because I know a lot of people are going for the likes of Son and Grealish and De Bruyne and Fernandes and Rashford. These players cost a lot of money, but Eze is a perfect option to kind of, bring those funds down a little bit if you're a little bit tighter on the budget. He's got 2 goals and 3 assists this season, and he's very good at counterattacking with the likes of Wilfried Zaha on either flank. And that's one thing that Zaha's been missing basically in the Crystal Palace team in past seasons, is somebody to kind of take the kind of, he has the ball, we need to take him down type of thing, the spotlight as it were. And Eze definitely does that, and it was highlighted in his goal versus Sheffield United. Someone playing full of confidence, basically ripped the entire team and then just slotted it in the bottom corner, no problem. And I think he could definitely cause Arsenal a fair few problems, because when they have their defense being straight run at, so like the likes of Holding and David Luiz and these sorts of players that are typically in there, even Gabriel in a couple of games, who's a more astute defender, they don't really like very tricky, fast players running at them. And I can definitely see, Crystal Palace maybe winning a penalty on the break, maybe winning a lot of free kicks on the break, maybe even scoring a goal on the break. And I think Eze is definitely going to be a part of that. I would like to see him start more as well. And I think that with Zaha and him on either flank, it causes problems on both sides. Kieran Tierney likes to get forward. When Bellerin plays, likes to get forward. Maitland-Niles as well on the right-hand side. When those two fullbacks get forward, Eze and Zaha can exploit those spaces in behind, and they're both quick enough to whereas Tierney and Maitland-Niles and Bellerin, as fast as they are, probably won't catch him if they have a head start on them. So I think that Eze is a definite watch for that game, because a lot of people are just assuming that Arsenal are going to win that game. Me personally, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than they think, and I've actually predicted Crystal Palace to win that game in my predictions. But I think that, if you look at what Arsenal's done, they've won against Chelsea, who's very poor on the day, and they beat Brighton and West Brom, 2 teams that basically ship goals for fun and can't score. So maybe they've been a bit flattered in their performances. They have played well in them, but I think that Eze is somebody who can definitely do quite well versus him. So make sure to look out for him as a differential pick. So now finally, let's get a look into which player I have chosen for the differential slot for the forward line. And the last player I've chosen in the forward line is Sergio Aguero. Yes, believe it or not, he is less than 5% owned. Actually, only 1.6% owned. And I think this could be potentially Aguero or Jesus, whichever one I think or would think is going to start this game. And that is going to depend on who starts in their FA Cup game over the weekend, because I think the other one will start in their Premier League game. So that's kind of what we're kind of looking for. A lot of people are going De Bruyne and 2 City defenders, De Bruyne, Sterling and a City defender, but not many people are talking about the man who has done quite a bit of damage for City over his tenure there. He is getting up in age and has been picking up some injuries, and he's been slow to come back. Only has 6 points, and his average points has been terrible this season over the 5 appearances that he has made. And he hasn't scored as of yet, but I think that Aguero, we know on his day, can be quite world class. Pep keeps talking about him. We need him. Aguero is our guy. He's the one that we need. We need him. We're looking to get him back. I need him back. It's all this desperation to get him back, but he did keep saying that they have to bring him back in slowly. Now, whether that means he gets a couple of minutes in the FA Cup game with Gabriel Jesus starting, and then Aguero comes in and starts fully, we'll have to see. He is definitely under the differential category in terms of risk factor, that's for sure. But Brighton at home, I think, would be a pretty easy test for him to see how fit he actually is. And another thing that could potentially be a bit of a spanner in the works is that he could take penalties back off of Kevin De Bruyne, who has been taking them in his stead. So that's something to also potentially look at. But whoever starts the FA Cup, which I think will probably be Gabriel Jesus, because he seems to have bounced back after having self-isolated for his required period. I think that he may start in the FA Cup, and then AGÜERO might get some, like, maybe 30 minutes, because he hasn't been getting more than 10 to 15. But I think 30 minutes, maybe a half, 45 minutes, see how well he's doing. If he does that, then maybe we'll see him start from the get-go in their Premier League fixture versus Brighton. And I think he could definitely do some damage, because Brighton aren't very good defensively. They don't typically score very many goals, and City are going to have the majority of the possession anyway. And I think it would just be a field day for AGÜERO, even if he isn't fully fit and still needs to get minutes under his belt, and could definitely do some damage. But whoever basically the forward is that's starting the FA Cup, I would suggest going with the other one. Jesus, I think, is potentially going to go down to 9 million. After tonight, depending on the price rises and falls. And AGÜERO is currently at 10.3 million. So I would say check on that, and don't basically look past potentially having a City forward, because a lot of people are looking at Kane, Wilson, and saying there's not much else. There's definitely a guy who definitely rivals Kane when he's fit and firing for the Golden Boot year in, year out when he is fit, and that is Sergio Aguero. So I would say to make sure to check out him as a differential pick. And that's going to do it for our Game Week 18, Blank Game Week 18 free hit differentials for goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and forward. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It greatly helps out the progression of the channel. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And also, give us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. That also helps us out as well. And you can see any updates that we have put out on Twitter, whether it be lineups, new videos, all that sort of stuff, as well as when we go live over on Twitch, which we will be doing a deadline stream on Monday of next week, the day before Game Week 18 starts. And make sure to comment any questions or concerns you may have for your free hit team, your wildcard team, whatever you may be trying to plan for Game Week 18. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.